God only listens when you're living right. This one quietly destroys people's prayer lives, and it does it without anyone ever saying it directly. Nobody teaches it from a pulpit. It just gets absorbed somehow, this creeping feeling that you need to clean yourself up before you go to God. Handle the sin first. Make some real improvement, show some progress, and only then, once you have earned the right to be heard, go ahead and pray. So people stop praying during their hardest moments, or they come to God with this low, apologetic energy. I know I probably have no right to ask you this, but as if God is barely willing to hear the request at all. But Psalm 34:18 says God is close to the brokenhearted, not the people with clean track records, not the ones who have been living right all week, the brokenhearted, the ones who have nothing left to offer. And this is not just one verse. It is a pattern that runs through the whole Bible from beginning to end. David wrote some of his most desperate prayers right after his worst moral failures. Psalm 51, his great prayer of repentance, did not start with David cleaning up his act first. It started with him bringing the full mess directly to God, exactly as it was. Jonah prayed from inside a fish, which is about as low as a person can get, both physically and spiritually. The thief on the cross prayed with only minutes left and a lifetime of bad choices behind him. Not one of them waited until they were ready. Hebrews 4:16 says we can come to the throne of grace with confidence, not with a perfect record, but with real confidence, so that we can receive mercy exactly when we need it most. The throne of grace is not a reward for people who performed well this week. It is a resource for people who are desperate. Your very worst moment is not a barrier to prayer. That is precisely when prayer matters most of all. God can't look at sin. This idea gets repeated all the time. God is too holy to even look at sin. You hear it in church, in songs, in Easter sermons trying to explain why Jesus cried out on the cross. The idea is that God is so pure that sin creates a kind of blind spot for him, that he simply cannot look at it. And it sounds like you are really honoring how holy God is when you say it. But look at what the Bible actually shows you happening all the way through it. In Genesis 4, God watched Cain kill his own brother Abel, and then spoke directly to Cain right after it happened. In Job 1, God pointed Job out to Satan himself. He watched every detail of Job's painful suffering and stayed present with the whole situation from start to finish. In Ezekiel 8, God gave the prophet a vision just to show him every single sin happening inside the temple walls. Jesus, who is fully God, ate meals with the people everyone else labeled the worst sinners in town. He touched sick people others refused to go near. He had long personal talks with people living openly sinful lives. The verse most people use is Habakkuk 1:13. Your eyes are too pure to look on evil. But read the very next line. Habakkuk is asking God why he seems to be watching evil happen and not yet doing anything to stop it, meaning God clearly sees it. The verse is about God's holy character, not some inability to look in a certain direction. Here is the real reason this matters. If God could not look at sin, then grace would not be possible. The whole gospel is built on God seeing every failure, every dark thought, every hidden thing, and choosing to love you anyway. That is not a reduction of his holiness. That is the deepest expression of what his holiness actually means